Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
You don't really think of Grand Forks as it would happen, so it's almost nice to have that in the back of your mind. Like, don't feel too comfortable. Like, always be aware and always be safe and always keep your alert up, I guess.
A Grand Forks mom has a warning tonight after she says a man approached her daughter and her friends at a park holding a knife and offering the teens drugs. She says it happened around 8 last night at Cox Park near Viking Elementary. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with a woman today who says she's glad nothing happened to her child but wants other parents to be aware.
Just off from work, Jessica Vaughn got a call from her teenage daughter, distraught.
She's like, Mom, like, can you come now because some guy just like freaked us out.
Her daughter said a man got out of a red or maroon pickup and came and sat with her and her friends on the park bench.
Offered him a cigarette, asked him how old they were. He was playing with a knife and just hanging out with these kids. And all of a sudden he asked the boy he was talking to go to his truck. And the other kids were like, no, like, don't go to this truck. And the guy turns around and he goes, don't effing worry about it. It's not your business.
Vaughn says none of the teens snapped pictures or could give an exact description of the man. But she says based on how frazzled they were, she doesn't think they made the story up. Vaughn says she dropped the teens off at their homes and then took to Facebook, warning others of the bizarre incident.
I just feel it's important that parents are aware and talk to their kids. Like, if something's going on and you don't feel okay with it, call the cops. You know, let somebody know. Even if it's nothing, have them come check it out.
But that's a tip Vaughn says she didn't take.
I made a judgment call, and I do stand behind it. I should have probably called, but I didn't see a danger immediately. Like, the guy wasn't still here. He wasn't, threatening anybody, and by that time he was long gone. So there really was no point in me calling at that moment.
Vaughn says while she didn't call police, she did message their Facebook page. But Grand Forks police tell me they have never heard of incidents involving an armed man giving away drugs and say they would be surprised if they ever did. In Grand Forks, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Vaughn says her daughter and friends will not be hanging out in the same places anymore and are going to change up their routes to and from school, just in case. A tense situation in West Fargo ended with a man being found dead in his car. It happened on 32nd Avenue and 15th Street West around noon today when police responded to a report of a man in a car who possibly had a gun. Officers tell us when they got there, the man was dead. Roads surrounding the intersection where it happened were blocked off for much of the afternoon as officers investigated the death as a suicide. Make sure to tune in tonight at 10 p.m. on KXJB or after the game on KVLY for our story, Suicide on the Farm, with our Washington Bureau Chief, Jacqueline Policastro.
Suicide on the Farm. How one man is a lifeline, stepping up to support his struggling community before it's too late.
We should enjoy these 70s while they last because there are some 60s on the horizon. Let's find out what lies ahead for this evening in No Wait weather. Hutch?
Well, thanks, Andrea. It does look like we have some passing clouds at the present time. Looking at our Valley Sky Cam, they're moving from north to south, but we are seeing some clearing off to the northwest in the Devil's Lake Basin. So improving conditions are on order. We do have a slight chance of a spotty sprinkle this evening across northwest Minnesota primarily, but by and large, they're just going to be clouds more than rain. Temperatures are cooler where we have clouds near 60 in Badette, near 70 in Fargo, and it's 85 in Aberdeen this hour. We stay in the 60s this evening with decreasing clouds, and the north wind that's been fairly robust throughout the day will taper off as we get past sunset. We'll be in the 50s by bedtime tonight in Grand Forks. So we have a Friday forecast to look forward to, and there is rain in the weekend outlook. I'll have details on all of that coming up here in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days on Minnesota roads, which again proved to be a tragic time in 2019. Officials say more than half of all traffic deaths so far this year happened during this period. There were 132 deaths this summer, including a two-car crash that took 6 lives. Last year, 123 people died during this same time period, and those deaths also represented more than half of all traffic fatalities in 2018. One business is cleaning up after someone accidentally hit a sprinkler head. It happened around 11 in the strip mall behind Famous Dave's in Fargo. Crews working in the soon-to-be Skills Cuts barber shop hit the sprinkler head, causing water to flood the shop and the neighboring business, Mission Nutrition. Fire crews got there quickly to shut the water off, but that was enough time to leave behind about an inch of water on the floors. Mission Nutrition was closed for an hour. We're told no other businesses were significantly impacted. The family of a 4-month-old baby girl is fighting to get access to a life-changing drug. It also happens to be the treatment that has been called the most expensive drug in the world. When Zoya was born, her family says she was healthy. It wasn't until a short time later when her mom noticed something was off. So she brought her to the hospital, where she was eventually diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy type 1. Zoya has been getting treatment that helps for the short term, but this $2 million treatment her family is trying to get their hands on would be a life changer.
She can get some of those back, some of those motor skills back, and she can live what we are hoping is live an unassisted life. We are ready to be that fighter in the front row. We certainly would not backing down.
Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, we have much more on this family story and what their insurance has decided when it comes to covering the cost of the treatment. Full Court Press with Greta Van Susteren starts this weekend on KVLY. Our parent company, Gray Television, is launching the new weekly syndicated Sunday political show. It will air at 6:30 Sunday mornings on KVLY. Greta says she has the advantage of tapping into the local news markets owned by Gray to bring the trust and local knowledge that viewers are demanding these days.
Look, this is Gray TV syndication, which means that I have the whole expanse of the Gray TV network. That's 143 stations in about 93 markets, so that now I have the opportunity to do something, go outside the Beltway, reach into communities, find out what the real problems are in the communities, let people give his or her opinion and voice on issues, and I can actually put a higher spotlight on what matters in Fargo or Appleton, Wisconsin, where I am, or whatever hometown of anyone across the country.
Now, after that half-hour show, Greta is launching a new social media show, Full Court Press Overtime. The Minnesota Department of Health says the state is seeing more cases than expected this year involving blastomycosis, a rare fungal infection likely due to environmental conditions that are just right. The infection is caused by breathing in microscopic fungal spores. Though the CDC says most people don't become ill after breathing in the spores, those who do develop flu-like symptoms. People who take part in outdoor activities near wooded areas are at a higher risk of getting sick, and those with weakened immune systems are more likely to develop severe blastomycosis. North Dakota wildlife officials are upset that the UND moose was let back into the wild. Wildlife officials say the anesthetic drug that was used to tranquilize it is not FDA approved for human consumption, and moose archery season begins tomorrow. Officials say the antibiotic has a label recommendation of a 28-day withdrawal time before the meat should be consumed. The regular season for hunting moose begins October 11th and continues through November 3rd. It is one of the sweetest fundraisers around. Today, the YWCA is hosting its 36th annual Chocolate Fantasy and Chili 2 event. The funds raised at this event will go back to the YWCA emergency shelter here in the FM area. Valley News Live's very own Lisa Green, Lisa Bedeau, and Abby Furchner took part in handing out the sweet treats today. Events like this allow the shelter to provide services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to those who are needing it most.
Right now today, there's 67 women and children calling our YWCA emergency shelter home. Women and kids who are fleeing violence, who are looking for an opportunity to rebuild their lives.
The event runs until 7 o'clock tonight, so you still have time. Tickets are $15 at the door. You can also take a look at this year's silent auction items and bid on them online. Just head to our website and click on this story. The first game for NDSU at the Fargo Dome is this Saturday against the University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks. You can watch the home state rivalry on the KVLY KFYR Bison television network. We will begin with the Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show at 1 with kickoff set for 2:30.